want to make money.
Oh, God.
What's up, everybody? Episode 10, couple of bettors coming back at you. Live from the Las Vegas Strip out here.
With more buttons.
I don't know if we talked about it last time, but we got rid of the, we're not facing the Strip, even though we're looking at it, but you're not looking at it. Just a little bit better with the lighting, you know, a little the ambiance, change the ambiance up, you know. But look, we're ready to come at you. We're going to come out at you fast, too. You ready for it? All right, weekend at Bernie's.
Cutest picture ever. Look at that face.
Look at this guy. Unbelievable. It was Halloween weekend, right? Mm-hmm. So we did a bunch of things, especially Friday night. We had some people over. Then we went out and got crazy. You can check our Instagram. We had a lot of fun on that Friday night doing some locals things and doing some party things and all that stuff. And we had Bernie dressed up in the apartment, a little pumpkin outfit on.
He did look like a little pumpkin. He's a little fat for it, though. He was a little fat pumpkin.
The neck. It was right around the neck. And
He's all neck and ribs, people.
Yeah.
But this is him the next morning, exhausted with his little Halloween toy. He was like, "Are you people staying in?" And we were like, "Of course not. It's Halloween weekend." And he was just not happy with us. Yeah. So
Mommy and Daddy were exhausted, too. But look, you got to power through.
Got to power through. Got to get that drink on.
Yep. Next up, you got Vegas. This one is a revisited one. So, you know, not a lot of stuff happening. I was surprised coming out of Halloween weekend that there wasn't some crazy story about like a tourist going berserk and all that and getting
drunk
arrested.
Clown.
Drunk person and all that.
Exposing himself or something. None of that.
That would have been great. Actually, I did see one in California where there was a guy who was arrested, belligerent drunk, domestic battery charges. He was fighting with people, and he was still in his full fireball costume. So
he was playing the part.
And absolutely. And his pick, what do you call it? The mugshot was literally just like him smiling ear to ear with his stupid fireball costume.
They kept his costume on? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, they kept the costume on.
They probably thought it was hilarious.
So this one, we talked about it. I think it was one of the first episodes we did about how this girl, she was at the Chili's, and she was sleeping. She was at the Chili's. She skipped a check.
She skipped on a check.
That's what it was.
She was supposed to pay for her food. Instead, she just left Chili's. She went right to security, which she should have already went through because Chili's is after security. So you leave Chili's, you go back to security, decided to fall asleep. That's where she was arrested because she skipped on the check and clearly was not ready to board a plane. But her quote was, "I'm too pretty to get in trouble." Turns out, a week later, she went back from Vegas to her home in California and killed her mom. So I don't know if she actually got Vegas or she was just insane when she got here. But, you know, this is kind of a crazy story where she shows up in the news twice. So
yeah, I mean,
if you see this lady, folks, stay away from her.
Yeah.
She may be pretty, quote unquote, but she's a nut job.
I think she stabbed her mom, too, slashed her up or something like that. So she might be armed with a knife.
Well,
she's on bail.
She's in jail now.
Unless
they let murderers back out the same day, because I know that is a thing. So.
All right. So on another depressing note, let's face it. This week, first one.
Yeah, we have Adam Zimmer.
Yep.
Right.
Mike.
Go ahead. Who is?
I was gonna say Mike Zimmer's, who's the head coach of the Vikings. His son, who was also an assistant coach in the league for a while.
Right. He passed away this week. Only 38 years old. They haven't come out with what's the matter, but that's still, 38 years old, that scares everybody. You're too young, you're not expecting it, he's got a family. So that's definitely something that you'll hear all weekend long.
Yeah, it sucks.
Very sad.
Next
On a not so sad note.
Oh, Jake Paul, this guy.
For him, it's sad.
I don't know if you're fans out there of Jake Paul, if you're a Jake Paul fan. I'm really not, but I respect him because he's fucking loaded and he made his money being like a troll on the internet. So like if you are worth probably over $100 million at this point. Anyway, he was fighting this weekend, and it's tough because he was going against Silva, who was a UFC legend, and during the middle of the week, it came out that Silva said in an interview, he said, during my sparring and stuff, I was knocked out twice. So everybody starts scrambling and say, "Wait a minute, knocked out twice. Like, should you even be boxing this weekend?" So the Arizona boxing commission had to come out, do some like scans on him, figure it out whether he was going to box or not. He ended up going. The fight was actually good. He went the distance with Paul, or Paul went the distance with him. I mean, the guy was 47 years old, but at the end of the day, like, he's an actual fighter. Paul did get a knockdown in the 8th round. But the pay-per-view sales were just trash. And Paul, which is, I wanted to see it. I like to see it. You want to see, like, this guy, he's got enough money. He doesn't need the extra money. And but he said he's blaming it because of the midweek where, Silva came out and saying he got knocked out a couple times, which he said that pay-per-view buys were just down, because people thought he was just going to back out of the fight. So, long story short, Jake Paul, you didn't get your money.
That was a short story long.
Yeah, whatever.
That's what you do.
Yeah, how's this guy going to be?
This one is very quick.
Quay Walker?
Quay Walker. So this comes from the Bills-Packers game. This little gem decided that for some reason on the sidelines in the middle of the game, he's going to shove one of the Bills coaches.
Can't do it.
And that's what we call a no-no. You're not allowed to do that. So he got ejected, and that was fantastic, especially when the Bills are home and the entire stadium hates your guts now and likes to watch you as you get escorted out. So that was a stupid move on Quay's part.
Yep,
Dummy.
So Steve Nash, coach of the Nets, coach of what I would like to describe as the dumpster fires, because it's a fucking disaster. These guys, I mean, you got 3 rock stars on the team. You can't get it together. You're not even winning games to start. Doesn't make any sense.
It's embarrassing to be Brooklyn Nets fans.
I think so. Yeah, This was not even like a fired thing. Apparently, it was really like a mutual thing. And he's probably just fucking so happy to get out of that mess. So Nash, shout out to you. You got a couple bucks coming to you too, I think. So that was good. But not having to deal with the guy in the end. Kyrie Irving in the news. You're promoting anti-Semitic movies, and you don't know what's going on. You think the Earth is flat. It's just shut the fuck up and play basketball and actually play well. We would all be happy about it, but instead you got to be in the news, and that's why a guy like Nash just wants to run away. Between that and Durant, who's like a Twitter troll, he's just got a lot of guys to deal. And also Ben Simmons, who's another nut job.
Nut job. So far he
sucks.
Trying to be normal for the first few weeks, but I'm sure that'll change. But I do want to point out, because I think these people deserve 100,000% credit. It was noted that the first row at the game that was at home with the Nets, first row of Jewish people they had the yarmulkes on, and they had signs saying, stop anti-Semitism and Jewish hate, basically quietly protesting against this clown in the most perfect way. Congratulations, very creative. I mean, not even creative, just good for you.
Yeah.
I think we need to do that more often. It sends a clear message in the best way possible. So kudos to you guys.
Absolutely. So, look, the trade deadline we just had the trade deadline, so that was a big thing. A lot of trades that went down. Some, people were buying players and some people were selling players.
And nobody did it before 4 o'clock. They all waited to the last damn minute.
There was a lot of stuff going on. You know what? A lot of times what happens, though, is some of them are tied to, like, contracts, and the agents got to get involved.
Of course, it all makes sense, but it would be nice to know something at, 3, 2. You feel bad for, Good Morning Football, who's, got to put all this time into the trade might happen. We might have to talk about some of these people that get traded, and they're like, nobody got traded yet. Guess we're going to wait. So just quick run through. I got this one because, God damn it, Dolphins. I understand you are afraid of the Buffalo Bills, rightfully so, but you have to go get Chubb. Congratulations to you. You're not gonna get it. We know that this was a move because you gave up your first round pick for this next draft, 4th round the next year. You also gave Chase Edmonds up. That's ridiculous. All for Chubb, who, yes, he's fantastic. But clearly that shows that you guys are a little nervous about your game and how good you are, just so you can get to the playoffs. So, still, fuck the Dolphins, Sorry, Dolphins fans. This was a good move on your part, but you're still not going to take us. Nope.
And this, to me, says 2 things. One, it says we're cool with Tua. We don't need that next first-round pick next year because he's playing his lights out. And then two, it means
Literally.
yeah, and then two, it means that like they're not only just trying to win and get into the playoffs. That's a move to like go deep into the playoffs. And how are you going to play against the Bills? And how are you going to play against Mahomes and those guys?
Listen, it's flattering that you're scared, but
look, as a fucking Jets fan, I hate this shit. You know. Another one, Roquan Smith, great linebacker for the Bears. He could do everything, rush, coverage, everything. So, again, Bears are not in that great of a position there. The Ravens want to make a run here. So, again, one of these AFC, who's going to, get into the playoffs and lead in the playoffs, and I think this is a good ad for them. They did have to give up next year a second round, fifth round for him, so that's a big deal. And then, Hawkinson, anybody who watched the Hard Knocks, the dude with the long hair, when you see the helmet and you see that nice blue with the lions, he's looking good, and you take the helmet off, not a good-looking guy. Not a good-looking. Oh, come on.
Sorry, Hawkinson.
No, but that's a big ad for the Vikings. So they had to give up some picks for him. Next year, second round.
Which is surprising because the Vikings are doing very well. They're quietly, again, I think we're starting to talk about them now. At least Josh and I are, and I think it's going to start to pick up because they are doing pretty well.
6-1.
Yeah, I'm surprised they needed somebody or took anybody, but hey, whatever.
Yeah.
So Steelers gave up Chase Claypool. I'm sure we've all recognized his name. Not like huge superstar, but you should know the name Claypool. They gave him up to the Bears. I don't know. Hopefully it'll help the Bears. No one hates the Bears. You want to see them do a little bit better. They're not a threat to many people, but maybe you can improve a little bit. So
Justin Fields was definitely happy about that one. Give me another weapon,
Yeah. And the Steelers clearly are just on a rebuilding year because this ain't working for them this year.
This is probably one of the more surprising trades of the day. Calvin Ridley. So Calvin Ridley's he's not playing. He's not playing right now because he's suspended for the whole season because he bet on games. And for those of you not familiar with this, it's a kind of dummy move. He's betting like a couple $100 on NFL games through his Caesars app. As a partnership with Caesars, the NFL. They're getting all those bets in. What are you doing, man? Get a
and
bookie.
he bet on football, nonetheless. He didn't even pick a different sport. He bet on football. I'll just really, I'm not the smartest. I know not to do that if I was a football player. Come on now.
But it's a couple $100. The guy's millions. He's making millions. He's clearly not trying to win the money, because
Yeah, he's dumb.
Just dumb. And so he's suspended for the whole season. So, they actually. So this is a whole conditional trade where Jacksonville's going to get him. So this is going to be in the future, but it's dependent upon when his suspension is up and he's allowed to play. And then if he is allowed to play, is he going to start for them? Is he going to make the team? So we'll see what he got on that one. But that's kind of a stupid, weird one that we thought was fun, especially because we're in the betting world,
All right. Well, we have Mr. Hines. Now, if you know anything about the Colts, he is actually a really good running back. They don't utilize him as much as they could. So he will be coming to us in a trade for Zach Moss. Zach Moss had, a few good plays, but we definitely didn't seem to know what we were really doing with him. He didn't really fit in that well. This trade, though, should actually help improve our running game a little bit more. Honestly, I didn't think we needed a trade. I think we have a good team, a good, everybody's vibing well. But he should fit in just fine, and especially after seeing Dolphins take Chubb, screw that. I'll take anybody if you want to trade him.
Yeah, I think actually Zach Moss is kind of similar to the other running back Cook that they have, and when you see Singletary in the game, you can kind of narrow down. This is a set of plays because the way he runs. He's a very scat back type guy. The other guys are more downhill runners. Hines can do anything, so I feel like he's an all-around good back that's going to give them a little more weapons where it's not even that the other guys couldn't do it. It's just when he's in the game, you don't know what he's going to do, right? Mm-hmm. It could be that he's going to run up through the tackles. Maybe it's going to be he's going to pitch the outside. He's going to catch the ball. Great hands the guy has. So that's a good little interesting weapon. I feel like this is one of the ones that people are going to be talking about in the playoffs when he nails a couple.
Welcome to Buffalo, Naheem.
There it is. And then the last one, it was just a cornerback, William Jackson. It's been a little bit disappointing for Washington. They paid a bunch of money for him, but the Steelers need a little help there, so they're going to go ahead and pick up the corner from Washington and give up a couple late round picks there. So these are the more notable trades. I think the winners here are definitely going to be,
The Dolphins.
probably the most, and the Dolphins Ravens probably are the most, and then the Bills we'll see, but I think they were already set up there. So I think the Dolphins and the Ravens, which again not the best for the Bills, but
No, but we'll still power through. No
yeah. Where do we watch the games?
All right, this is a little bit of a repeat, but if you come to Vegas or you happen to Vegas, Circa is just the bomb place to watch the games.
It really is.
And we want to be downtown Fremont Street, Halloween season. It rocks. And there's even off season, like non-Halloween, they just have different stages set up with live music and do you get to see some skeevy shit, man? It's amazing. So
True.
you do like going down there, and we just ended up going out for the late night Bills game, which here is like 5:00. So you get to go to the game, then you get to hang out afterwards and see the freak shows. So we went to Circa, but we were more around the overhang bar, which is another. If you don't want to get like table service in the kind of stadium style seating at Circa, you can just take a seat here at the overhang bar, and you get a full view of all of the large screen TVs, every game that's on. Everybody's watching sports in that whole area, so it's not like everybody's got one task at hand. So that's good. And then of course we did make a stop at the long bar. We've talked about this before.
Some of the bartenders there.
Yeah,
and stuff
and it saw a couple shows there too with the drunkards, but it's Fremont Street. You gotta be ready to see some stuff, but it's a good time.
That is true. The Circa by itself as a whole casino, we talked about stadium swim, the outside, and all that stuff. If you like sports, the whole casino is focused at sports and sports betting.
Sound on the game, because we watched
Everything.
the night game. It was sound on. There's music if you step 3 feet away, so it's like perfect for everything.
Mega bar they have, which is not on here. If you're at this bar, you could just look the other way, and all of a sudden there's a place called Mega Bar, which is really based on the success that the D had, which was their first property, which is this long bar. Mega Bar is just even better, bigger, more TVs. So it's just TVs all around. We were at a blackjack table once, and there's just TVs right in front of you. So, if you like sports and sports betting, Circa is the place with the right vibe.
They could pay us anytime.
Derek, where are you at?
They're not sponsoring us yet, but
No.
really talking them up.
All right. How'd we do last week?
Christine did fantastic, just so we know, for all the doubters, because, sometimes we don't think that she knows what she's doing. I nailed it this week.
Yeah.
However, there was one loss that you guys don't know about that Josh can explain.
Look, we said last week the Ravens, it was going to be a hands-down winner versus the Bucks, and we explained why and how that, the Bucks defense wasn't good against the run, the Ravens going to run all over them, and the whole thing.
No questions.
And we didn't get bets in right away, and all of a sudden, the day of the game, the spread moves. It went from, I think it was them being favored by 1 to then for the game being 2.5 point underdogs. Yeah. And we said, wait, what the hell's going on here? And it turns out they weren't sure if Mark Andrews, their tight end, were going to play. And also they mentioned that their number one receiver had a little bit of an issue with his leg, that he wasn't sure, how good he was going to be that game. So we got spooked up about this. We said, oh, shit, what are we going to do? So we didn't bet the Ravens for the game. We said, let's bet the first half and see how it goes. So we bet them as a pick 'em. It was a loss.
Oh, my God.
And then we're like, shit, they don't look that good,
Yeah, second half. What can we do second half?
Christine puts money on the Bucks.
Yeah.
I put money on the over second half. It's just losses. We are down 2.5 units on the Ravens on picks that we didn't like, that we didn't want.
If you only listened to our podcast and you didn't speak to us that night, sorry, noobs, you definitely made money off of our pick, okay? Just want to clarify that. But we, however, lost money because we'll never do that again. We're just going to stick with what we say.
And without that one, Christine hit every one of her bets.
Yes, I did.
And then, again, the units that we're talking about here are combined units between me and Christine. So, like, it's a unit of our betting total, not like Christine's betting less than I am. So we're not saying that, a unit for her is the same as you. We're just saying combined what a unit is. So.
Oh, I definitely bet much less than him. So
yeah,
unfortunately, I win everything, but I'm not bringing as much
less money.
I'm not bringing as much money home.
So we hit a nice little second half Michigan State bet. Shout out to Noobs. He was watching the game. He bet the whole game, and he said it was going against him. And we love that shit. When there's something going against a whole game bet and we didn't bet the whole game yet and we can get in on that second half action, oh, I love it. And it was exactly what we thought. Michigan, second half team, they run all over you. They got these big hog linemen that are going to just push you down. So that was a good little winner where it was an unexpected one where you didn't say we're going to beat, you say we're going to win it. Other ones that affected the totals, the Bills, Bills, yeah. So basically I put 3.5 total units on them. I had a little bit of 10. I bought the hook down to 10. It was 10.5. So my 10.5 bet lost. My 10 pushed, so I got the money back on it.
If you're confused, check out Betting 101 this week. We talk about buying the hook.
Buying the hook and buying the points. So I also had Bills. We were thinking about the under-over. Under-over was 47, and we said, you know what? Shout out to Monkey. He said, you know what? It's going to be 47 over. And I said, I don't know about the Packers, how much they're going to score. I said, let me just bet the Bills on their points, which you can do. So just shout out, look at your app. You can do how many points one team's going to have. It was 29.5. I said, these guys are going to score 30. Josh Allen, 10 minutes left in the game. He throws an interception on the 3-yard line. Easily a field goal. Easily hits the over 29.5 points. And also would have made them cover for the game. So that was the second interception in the second half. So things were going well. It looked like it was going to be a bunch of covers there. It didn't. But Taylor Heineke, we'll talk about him in a second. The Commanders, that was a nice win for me.
Very nice win.
That was a 3-unit pickup. So all in all, things shook out in the wash. Hit about almost 50%. Christine was almost 100. And we were flat. So we were flat for the week. So look, if money doesn't exit your account, I think it's a win.
Push is a win.
Takeaways. I just said Heineke. Taylor Heineke and PJ Walker on the Panthers. Last second deep ball, amazing throws to win the games for their respective teams. I mean, shout out to those guys. That's awesome. We just love to see the young guys who come in, get a chance, and actually do something with it. So we'll see what's going to happen with those. It's going to make things interesting now that you don't have shitty Wentz and shitty Mayfield or Darnold or whoever else you want to put in for the Panthers.
Be nice. Be nice.
How about these guys?
Seahawks, I mean, I'll get to them a little later, but yes, they had another statement win. Sorry, Giants fans. Unfortunately, I was with a Giants fan. I didn't think we were going to be hanging out at that point of the day, so I went against him. But quietly, I won with the Seahawks bet. Derrick Henry, I hate you. I will always hate you. Thank God you were not a threat when we played you this year. But he continues to be a monster. I was hoping he wasn't going to be anymore, but he is. It just wasn't against us. So, okay, bro.
It was against Houston, and I think there was some weird stat where it was like, out of the 200-yard games that Derrick Henry has had in his whole life, multiple have been against the Texans. So this was against the Texans. I mean, they didn't have to throw at all. They were basically just running.
And this, if anybody caught the early morning London game. London game, Broncos, Quan Williams catches makes a one-handed catch with a cast on. Like, I don't even know how that's possible, but that's what happened.
Pretty cool.
If you didn't see it, check out that highlight. You're playing with a cast and you can catch a ball one-handed. Good job. That was sick.
Iced the game for them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was it.
We could have been making fun of the Broncos some more, but because of Mr. Castman, we cannot. So.
Yep.
I'll wait till this weekend to make fun of the Broncos. Actually, they might be on a bye. I don't know.
They might be.
They might be.
Yeah, I think they are. The Derek Carr and the Raiders. Come on, Raider Nation. It's not like we give a shit about you, but it's so disappointing to a lot of people.
We
in this
do.
area.
We live here. We have to. We do give a shit, not as much as about our teams, but yes.
But you go down to the Saints. And you lose 24-0. Don't put any points up on the board. You had 40 yards passing in the first half, and I said, "Oh man, he's probably going to come back in the second half and do something." No, he had 100 for the game, 50 rating.
It was through the third quarter that he had 40 yards passing. He got a few extras in the fourth quarter. That was it.
God.
And then a big donut. Now listen, the Bills have done that to a couple teams, not let them score, but that's the Bills. We're talking about the Saints here. That's a little obnoxious.
And McCaffrey, look, that trade is paying off right away.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey goes there. He throws for a touchdown, runs for a touchdown, and catches a touchdown. Animal. So jealous, a little bit jealous of him, but they have to pay him.
But then we have Zach Wilson, little Zachy Wilson. I'm sure you don't want to talk shit, so I will do it for you. What the hell, man? I think he needs to go bang his mom's best friend. Maybe he'll get it back inside of him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I like this kind of Zach Wilson because he's easy, but
Look, I've been criticizing him. Jets fans have been criticizing him and saying, you're not doing enough. You're not taking shots. It's really conservative. The week before, he wasn't doing much. This week, he comes out, has a bunch of cool, big, explosive plays downfield. He throws for 355 yards, which he rarely throws for over 300 yards. I mean, I don't probably count him on one hand how many times he's done it in the last 2 seasons. But these 3 interceptions were just fucking terrible. Like, it's, if you... Allen had 2 this week that weren't that great, but these were worse.
But we were already up by 10 points.
You're up. You're managing the game. You're on the 3-yard line. This is like not. They weren't up by 2 scores. This is pivotal points, and he escapes the pocket. So great mobility. We love that stuff. But when you get out and nothing's there, you got to throw it away. This is rookie shit. He now rolls out to the sideline instead of just committing to either run out of bounds or throw it away. He then starts backing up and off his back foot throws it downfield. Nobody's there. It's interceptions. It's cringeworthy. So if he can clean it up, I think the guy's got a shot to be good in this league. But if you're going to do that in year 2, when are you going to make the jump?
He's got a lot of cleaning up to do.
He is. See, in all fairness, they're 5-3 right now. He, as starter, is 4-1. That was his one loss. He actually had won four straight before that. So we still don't want to throw in the towel. Big week this week coming up, so that's a little bit rough. Speaking of which, big week. You know what time it is.
Bill's Mafia on the house.
Before you actually start, can we make a deal? Next week.
I don't like making deals
Next
when
week,
I know the winner.
I'm just the winner of next week gets the rant, obviously, right? So, like, if the Jets happen to win, this says Josh's time to rant.
Oh, sure. It's going to remain Christine's time to rant. We all know that.
Just wanted to lock that in here for you.
Anything else you want to bet?
No, that's
in case you win.
That's it.
No, I bet me $1 million.
I'm not betting that game either.
I bet that I get my cabinets painted.
Ooh, my cabinets.
My cabinets.
Wow.
When I win, they're my cabinets, and that's what I want painted.
Wow.
No?
All right,
Okay.
it's your time to rant.
All right. So, yes, we did win against the Packers. Still, Buffalo, congratulations. You did a great job. However, I thought we were a team that covers the spreads also because this is how you get extra fans. You know, we don't want people wearing Bills shit because, no, that's for us only. But we want them to be like, yes, the Bills covered for me because I keep hearing that, especially living here in Vegas. They're like, go Buffalo. They keep covering, blah, blah, blah. So I was hoping that we do the same thing against the Packers. It was a little tight of a game for us. We should have just demolished them. 2 interceptions. We need to fix that. You know, again, Allen is fantastic. Everybody talks about how wonderful he is. There's no question about it. But it would help if we didn't throw so many interceptions each game because that kind of keeps happening. But if you listen to people who are not Bills fans, but people who watch football, he just entertains the shit out of people. Everybody loves watching him. They just think he's fun to watch. I agree, especially as a fan. He's so much fun to watch. I do appreciate that Diggs got a little riled up before the game even started as they're coming out of the tunnel, talking a little shit with a Packers player. That did not help you, Packers. That hurt you. Get Diggs fired up. I love it. He was even more aggressive than he usually is because he had something to prove. I suggest the Jets do that to him. It'd be good.
I'd rather not.
Yeah. We talked about...
Maybe Sauce Gardner could do a chicken wing hat instead of the cheesehead hat next week.
Sure. I don't think anybody would be offended by that because you're going to be losing or be at a loss anyway, and that just makes him look like he likes chicken wings because who doesn't like chicken wings? Buffalo.
I like
them. So we talked about Quay Walker getting ejected from the game. Good job, buddy. You're dumb. So now, Bills travel to New Jersey. Don't let them confuse you. If you're a Bills fan, you know they don't play in New York. They don't practice in New York. They are a New Jersey team along with the Giants, so they have to travel there to stinky, filthy New Jersey. However, I know that my Bills Mafia will be there in full effect. I'm saying 65% of that stadium will be full of Bills fans because we have transplants down there all over the place, and it's drivable. So if we are willing to fly across country, definitely going to Meadowlands Stadium to watch the game. So 65%.
MetLife Stadium.
Oh, right. In the Meadowlands. Whatever. New Jersey. Again. New Jersey. Stinky New Jersey. That's all we need to know. And we talked about, like, Zach Wilson is back to being Zach Wilson. So, I hope for Josh's sake he gets his shit together a little bit, but because either way, he's not a threat. This team is not a threat to us. And then we've got Hines from the Colts. The only thing to be looking out for is Poyer and Milano, as of today, which is Wednesday, have not been able to participate in practice. If they're really struggling a little bit with injuries, I'd keep them off too. Again, it's the Jets. No offense, but it's not like you're playing the Chiefs and you need everybody in there. They could maybe take this week off. But Tre'Davious White is set, not officially, but they're pretty much letting us know that he should be playing this weekend and should be making his debut at MetLife. So I think that should be interesting to watch, and give the other two a rest if they need it, because this is a game that we can definitely win.
This one is going to be a game where she might be not happy after the outcome of that one.
Right. Yep. Okay.
All right. Now with that, I'd like yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, good. Moving on.
Now let's get into the games. We'll roll through these really quickly. First up, Eagles versus the Texans, Thursday Night Football. I mean, this is a tough one because, the Eagles are rolling. And last week there was a spread, I think it was about 9.5 was the spread. And we were looking at it saying, it's a lot of points still, but, Eagles are going to go, and they did. And we bet them, and they rolled. Mm-hmm. This one.
That's a heavy spread.
Yeah.
And, they both have top defenses, but Texans are at home. I don't know. I don't think the Texans are going to win. We're not saying that. But the spread at being plus 14, we're both taking the Texans.
Yeah, it's like what happened, with the Bills-Packers game where 6 minutes left in the game. Aaron Rodgers throws a touchdown. It's like the game didn't matter at that point. But, the backdoor cover possibility, a home team being down by 2 touchdowns. I mean, they could be up by, think about them being up by 21 points or 20 points. And then all of a sudden the Texans come down the field at the end where it doesn't matter. Right. The Eagles are celebrating on the sideline, but then they still cover.
The Eagles just want the win. They want to keep their undefeated record. So we're going Texans.
Yeah. Next up, Colts, Pats.
We're both not betting this, actually, because fuck the Pats.
Right. This is where emotion gets involved.
Yeah.
And I do like the Pats here.
If you want to win money, bet the Pats at minus 5.5. I mean, we all kind of know why. But go ahead if you want to explain.
They have Sam Ellinger, who played a very respectable game last week against the Commanders, where he had him in there to the very last minute, and then there was that Taylor Heineke drive down the field, score the touchdown, and win. But this is not the same defensive. This is Bill Belichick against a young quarterback. If you take a quarterback with less than X amount of starts, let's say 7 starts in his life, what is Bill Belichick's record against them? I mean, it's got to be undefeated by far. He's definitely going to force an interception. He's a defensive genius. Let's not forget that that's what he is. And against a young guy, you just got to figure that one's going to be a winner. We don't have boxes around these to bet it because we just don't want to root for the Pats.
Nope.
That's really what it is.
Nope. So, if you don't care, root for the Pats. Yeah. If you do care, be like us and say, fuck the Pats, because that's fun.
Yep. Next game.
Not betting anything.
Buffalo Bills versus the New York Jets. I don't know where they're going to fly into. Are they going to fly into Newark, or are they going to go actually into Kennedy or LaGuardia? I'm not sure.
They're going to fly into Newark because everything happens in New Jersey for the Jets and Giants because they're the New Jersey teams. Thank you.
Look, the Bills are top 3 in the league on offense and defense. The Jets, some of the stats don't exactly show it, but their defense is really strong. But offensively, I think they're going to struggle against a really good Bills defense. So, look, do I want them? 12.5 spread, a 5-3 team. Literally, that's no respect at all. They're at home, and they're plus 12.5 points. I'm inclined to want to bet them, but the problem is that I watch the Bills too much. They're just strong at every position, so that's the only problem. And I just think that in order for them to win, I'm literally going to say, it's not on the corners. The corners are going to Sauce Gardner's not going to lock up Diggs, right? But like, if you could slow him down a little bit, you got to put it on Zach Wilson. And is he going to throw more picks? He's the only one that's going to win that game for them. Can he cover it though? Maybe. He might be able to cover that one and hit it by a 10 at the end of the game. So we'll see. She's obviously, you've heard her rant, so enough's enough with that. Next game, Dolphins versus the Chicago Bears.
Okay, so this is again where we're not betting because fuck the Dolphins.
This is where we're actually putting our money and saying we don't care about making extra money.
We are. It's worth just laying off. But yes, if you do not care, Dolphins will most likely cover this Bears -5 spread. It's not, it's definitely doable. And they got Chubb now. I assume they're going to play him, but it's a possibility that they don't because they just acquired him today.
At that position, I feel like the edge rushing, they just be, even if he doesn't
go run, figure it out.
Well, kind of like if it's third down and it's a throwing down, he's going to be there rushing the passer. That's just a fact.
So, anyways, quickly because we're not putting money on. Most likely, you want to put money on the Dolphins, but again, we will be watching the Patriots and the Dolphins, hoping that they both lose, because then I'll knock him out, and it'll just be Bills are the champions of the whole wide world.
But yeah, will Claypool on offense get any touches there? I don't know. Will they give him a couple? For Justin Fields, a couple deep balls maybe. Possibly.
I don't know if it's enough to.
No, I don't think so either. I would really lean the Dolphins on this one too.
So that was a useless comment, but okay, moving on.
Next game, Vikings versus the Commanders.
So neither of us took this because we're going against each other. And again, it does not work in our household to go against each other because the goal is to make money, not just break even. But I believe the Vikings, I think they're the stronger team here. The Commanders definitely did look good. I had my money on them last week also. But this one I'm going Vikings on.
Yeah. They have a great defense, so that's like a tough one. But Taylor Heineke's finding ways to win the last 2 weeks at quarterback for the Commanders. That's why I'm sitting there going, maybe the young guy kind of gets it done against this 6-1 squad at home. But they're also plus the 3.5 points. Could be a 23-20 game where they cover.
Right. That's another thing that it's close enough where they, the Commanders could cover but still lose. I don't know. The Vikings are just a quiet winning team.
Yeah. All right. Next up. Green Bay Packers versus the Detroit Lions.
So this is my lock of the week.
Lock of the week.
Now, not because I like Aaron Rodgers or anything, because I do not. However, science. This is all on science. I'm going to go with the fact that Lions have the worst ranked offense and defense, unfortunately.
Bad. So bad.
The Packers are also not looking like superstars, but they're a little bit better than the Lions. And Aaron Rodgers needs to get his shit together. I know he's blaming the team. I know he was looking at the trade deadline like, nothing. We're taking nothing. I'm getting nobody. But if you're going to win a game, it's got to be against the Lions. Like, I know you're at home. The Lions are at home. They're so bad that you better pull out a win. And honestly, if he doesn't pull out a win and I lose a few bucks, it'd still bring me great joy. So it's a win-win on this one. So Packers, lock of the week, a -3.5. I think I'll make a few bucks off of him. I think you will as well. But if we don't, not that bad.
No, I think it's got to be a snapback game at some point, and against the shit. Look at the under/over 49.5. This. The Lions has been Swiss cheese defense, and on top of it, Swiss cheese. He had a lot of holes. Wow. And Aaron Glenn, I said it before. I was a ball boy for the Jets when he was a cornerback for the Jets, and I knew the guy in the locker room, this and that, good dude and all that. But he's the defensive coordinator for the Lions, and if you do such an atrocious job, you probably should be fired by this point. But Dan Campbell has got his boys back, but he said I need a head, so. They served up the defensive backs coach, and they said, hey, let's fire this guy because he's the passing game coordinator on defense. So, a little bit of, that the ownership is wondering what's going on there. That there's worries in that Lions facility. And Aaron Rodgers, your offense is ranked in the bottom half of the league. That's got to snap back at some point. Sammy Watkins, do something, So, lock of the week for Christine. I'm on it too. Let's go.
Oh, little Bernie and his little legs trying to get through the floor.
Yeah, Bernie's walking around. Next up, Chargers. Falcons. It's actually not that bad of a game, 4-4, 4-3. Chargers coming off a bye week.
Right. That's why I'm taking them.
Yeah.
Mr. Ribman, I think he got his rest that he needs. Hopefully that'll help Herbert a little bit, in my opinion. I know the Falcons are pretty decent, but again, you gave Herbert that week off, gave the Chargers a week off. I think that they can cover the spread, but I am so strongly convicted that I'm not actually putting my money on that. So
the under-over is a lot. It's 49.5. I think this is really driven by the Falcons having one of the worst defenses in the league. Mm-hmm. So, Herbert coming off a bye is probably going to sling that ball all around. The question is, what can the Falcons do on offense? And, I was leaning over a little bit, but it's such a high number at 49.5. I just said, you know what, I'm staying away from it. So we're both not betting this game.
Yes.
Okay, next up.
All right, Panthers versus Bengals. I am actually putting my money on the Bengals at -7.5. If you look at the two teams, they both kind of have crappy defenses, but the Bengals have a strong top 10 offense, and that's why I feel like they'll cover that -7. Let me clarify something, -7 spread. So what I'm gonna be doing is buying the spread down to 7 because I don't know, 7.5. That means they have to be 8 points ahead in the end in order for me to win. I don't have that much faith that they can cover that much, but I think they'll win by a touchdown in the end ish or enough
10,
enough to get there against the Panthers because of their strong offense. So I'm gonna buy the point, half a point down, and take them at 7. Yep. So if you can't do that, I don't know if you should be following me.
Yeah. I like that. Buy the hook. If you didn't check it out, Betting 101, we go through buying the points. Buy the hook down from 7.5 to 7. You'll push at 7, but you're probably hoping you're going to win by 10 or 13 or 17 or 21 or whatever the hell else, right?
Go Bengals.
All right. Next up.
Oh, this is a
the
crap,
Raiders.
crap
the Raiders versus the Jaguars. Look, this is a toilet bowl. That's what we like to call it. 2-6 versus 2-5. The Raiders stayed. They were in New Orleans. They basically stayed out east. They didn't go back home. It's rough. They got beat up pretty badly by New Orleans, 24-0. The Jags have been strong on defense. So I'm looking at this under-over at 48 and saying, are the Raiders going to score points enough against this good Jacksonville defense where combined they're going to get to a 48 spread? I really don't think so. So I'm putting my money there. I think this is actually a good under bet. I think the line is off. I think it probably should be a 45 type of line. So that's where we're going. That's where I'm going. You think the Jags.
I like the Jaguars, but not enough to put my money on because I will not be watching that game because that's going to be boring as hell.
But I get that too. After how anemic the offense has looked on the Raiders, they got to step up. Anemic.
That's a fun word.
Yep. Okay. Now we get to the later games, right?
Seahawks at Cardinals. Listen, I do not like being on the Geno Smith train, but damn, he keeps making me money. And he's not a problem for me yet as far as the Bills are concerned. So, looking at this, they get 2 points. I know they're going to the Cardinals, but they're just doing incredibly well. Their offense is crushing it. I'm sticking with what I've been doing. Seahawks +2, taking that all day.
Yeah. Well, look, this is a game where you have two good offenses going against two bad defenses. So generally what you'd say is there should be a high under-over. Oh, Bernie's making an appearance.
You can say hi.
There should be a high under-over, and there is. It's at 49.5. But if you dig in deeper, these guys played each other. I mean, this is a division game. They played each other October 16th, I believe it was. It was 19-9. So they hit 28 points. And now you're going to tell me that's a 49.5 under over? I don't think so. I'm leaning towards the under on this one. Hopefully the game plays out a little bit similar. I'm sure it's going to be more than 28 points, but I'm hoping it's going to be less than 49.5. So I'm going there. So she's going Seahawks with Geno, riding the Geno train, and I'm going to be on that
train.
under 49.5.
Jesus.
Okay, next up, the LA Rams versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Stafford versus Brady in an ultimate matchup. Because last year it seemed like this would have been a good game,
Right,
but
yeah.
now nobody gives a shit. What are these guys doing?
Well, actually, people give a shit. I enjoy watching Brady squirm and get angry
Me too.
and get frustrated because, damn it, it's been a long time waiting to see that shit happen, especially as Bills Jets fans. Like, this is fantastic. So, I am putting my money on the Rams. I mean, basically, you have two shitty offenses. You've got two decent
Good defenses.
defenses going at it, but I think Tom is just losing it. His whole life is in shambles, if you ask me.
Divorce is finalized, though.
Yeah, divorce is finalized, but now, he can't go home and kiss his kids on the mouth every night.
Wow.
So I think that's really affecting him. I'm going Rams +3. Why not?
I would lean towards the over. I think, 42.5. Again, we said it was good. It was bad offenses and good defenses. But when you say that out loud and say, wait a minute, Mike Evans and Tom Brady on the Bucks and Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford on the Rams are bad offenses, it kind of doesn't sit right. So I feel like it could be one of those breakaway games where they actually score some points, even though the defenses are good. So I would kind of lean towards the over, but not taking it.
I think it's a good one, but
Yeah.
go Rams anyway. +3.
Okay, this is the Sunday night game, right?
Yes.
So one thing, big question mark. Tannehill did not play last week. There was a rookie who was in there. Derrick Henry dominated the game, so he only threw 10 passes for 55 yards. You're not going to win a lot of NFL games that way unless it's against the Texans. So you're not going to go at the Chiefs and do that. Tannehill, he's got an ankle injury. They said as of today that it's going to come down to pain and whether he could play through it and whether he could perform. He was saying that like he was watching the game at home last week and is yelling at the TV, and his kids were saying, "Daddy, why are you yelling at the TV? And why you don't do that when you watch football?" He's like, "This one counts a little bit more because he was supposed to be out in the field, so he's gonna try to get out there, shoot him up, coach, give him those injections." I think that, but we'll see though because I don't want to bet this game, so I don't have any dots and leaning.
Right. So
or
if
whatever.
he's in though, are you taking the Titans at 12.5?
If he's in, I might actually be leaning towards an under bet there. I don't know because 46.5. I know that the Titans have a good defense, and I also know that if they can hold Mahomes a bit and they run the ball a lot, they're still even if Tannehill's in there anyway, they're still going to run a lot. That eats clock. And it eats clock. So you could have long, sustained 7-minute drives and stuff like that. Where 46.5, you don't actually get there. So I think the Chiefs are going to win. Do I think they're going to win by 12.5? I don't know. But I might lean the under on that one. What do you think?
I'm not putting my money on it because I also hate the Chiefs for obvious reasons. But I do think that they can cover the 12.5 against them. But again, not strong enough where I want to put my money on the Chiefs.
But by the time we get to that point in the week, we might be putting a bet on that game.
Who knows? We'll see.
All right, last game. This is Monday Night Football. Ravens versus the Saints. I mean, after watching the Ravens last week and being so annoyed that we didn't make money on them, even though we said we were right on that one, we're back at it. I think that they're a better team for the 2.5 points. I think this is going to be one where this one should be covered by 10, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Lamar he held his own. He gave the Bills a run for their money. That says a lot. Thank God we still won that game, but it wasn't, a blowout, absolute blowout winner. So he's got a strong offense. I'm also taking the over because the Saints also have a strong offense.
Yeah.
I think the Ravens' offense is better, so I think they will cover the -2.5. But I also think both of them will be going at each other, and it'll be at the end when the Ravens finally pull out a lead, just like with the Bills. I think it'll be something similar, not as I think it'll be more scoring between the two teams than between the Bills and Ravens because we are actually better than the Saints as a whole. But,
Yeah.
you know.
And the spread implies something like a 31-27 type of a game, 31-28 type of a game.
Sure, if I could do math, I'd definitely agree with you. But I'm going to go with yes on a whim.
Yeah.
You know what you're talking about.
Well, 31-28 would get you to the over.
Okay.
And it would get you to the Ravens.
That's exactly what I think the score is going to be.
Boom. All right. I like it. All right. So what are we actually betting? We talked about a lot of them. Actually, did we even go through the Seahawks-Cardinals game?
We did. You just didn't say that was your lock of the
This is
week.
Baloney. All right. Well, anyway, we'll go quick here. Texans-Eagles Thursday Night Football. We're both on it. Texans plus the 14 points. 2 touchdowns. A lot of points. Take it.
My
Your
lock. Yeah, I said this though very clearly.
Yeah.
Packers minus 3.5 versus the Lions. Definitely easy win. So that's my lock of the week. Then I have Bengals minus 7, but don't forget I'm going to be buying the hook. I want 7, not 7.5. So if you can do that, I strongly suggest it. I don't know if I suggest 7.5.
Yeah. And then Raiders Jags. I'm on the under 48 points. I think it's a lot. I mean, let's see what the Raiders offense hasn't been able to do much, so let's see what happens there.
Boring game.
And the next one, Seahawks versus Cardinals.
Yeah, so I'm taking the Seahawks, and he wants the under.
Yeah. Look, my lock of the week, Seahawks versus Cardinals. The under, 49.5 points. That's a lot of points, guys. 2 weeks ago, 19-9. Okay, that's 28 points. Now it's at 49.5. Did a lot change in 2 weeks? I don't really think so. I think that we're going to score more than 28, but 49.5 is too much. You're giving them too much credit. So I think that's my lock of the week. So go get it. Go get that money.
Yeah, everybody likes betting the under. Woo, no points.
Yes.
Terrible.
All right. Rams, Bucks.
I'm taking the Rams plus 3. You already heard me explain.
Yep.
Fuck Tom Brady. He's in his head.
And then we got the Ravens, Saints. Ravens, we're both on the Ravens minus 2.5. And then
I'm
Christine's
also taking the over.
Taking
Woo.
the over. She's
Make
like,
so much money on that Ravens
because
game.
you want that redhead, that Andy Dalton to throw a few touchdowns on top of it.
Yes, he
Right?
will, but not enough to win. The Ravens will win.
Yeah.
He's got to shave the goatee, man, though. I mean, that's just too much red hair, too much bright red hair everywhere.
Nobody likes it. All right, everybody. That's it for the week. Episode 10. We've been doing pretty well, especially Christine. Last week, she was like almost 100% if she would have actually just placed the Ravens bet that she said she was going to place.
Also, it was because of you telling me things, and then I was like, crap. So
Yeah.
I blame you.
Although she says 100%, but she said her lock of the week last week was the Bills. She didn't bet it, though, because she
Right.
said she doesn't jinx her own bets, so she left me out to dry.
Yeah.
But
I don't
whatever.
make him bet the Bills. I just don't do it myself. So anyways, we'll end with Christine almost had 100% win rate last week, okay?
Go like, subscribe, click buttons, do things, help us out. We love you all. And with that,
Go Bills.
bye, everybody.
Go Bills.
Bye, everybody.
Couple of betters. Couple of betters. I want to make money. Couple of betters. Couple of betters.
Gotta get rid of these buttons.